the rules, but they're not respecting the rules and how they spend our money, right? But again, these are all very interesting questions that the media should be answering first. And instead, they call the Tesla protests Tesla's day of vandalism. Now, I was one of the people that launched the call for a boycott of Tesla. I need to have on my resume so that I can get a job when this thing is over, that I bankrupted Tesla, or that I helped bankrupt Tesla. That is a very important thing to me personally. So please do everything you can to bankrupt Tesla. But but I can tell you that story, and that story is not a story of violence. It is not a story of vandalism. It is a story of the American people using their economic power to send a message to the oligarchy that they can't buy this country. This country is not for sale. And so Fox News, rather than working for the people that are trying to buy us, including your owner, Rupert Murdoch, that piece of shit, why don't you show up for us and start telling our stories? Because trust me, Rupert Murdoch may scare you, but we are way scarier than Rupert Murdoch. Who wants to come up?
Yeah. I would actually like to speak directly to the people inhabiting these buildings behind us. My question for you is, how are you going to stand up to millions of us if you won't stand up to a few of them? You think you've got a voice? You will only have a voice for as long as he allows you to have it if you keep this up. You need to cover the people who are telling you how we feel about this takeover of authoritarianism. You need to show up. You are the voice of the people. You are the conscience of the country. And if you don't show up, we will remember whose side you took.
That's exactly right. Traitors will be remembered. And it's funny because while they're living it in real time, they don't take that into account. They think that because we have a very short attention span that we're going to forget. And Elon Musk now, I saw him crying on TV recently, and he's talking about it. He's almost done, and he wants to leave. And I say, Elon, I don't care where you go. You're a Nazi, bro. We're going to find you everywhere. I don't care who you are. If your last name is Musk, your life is going to be way more complicated. Because that's what they deserve. They have tried to buy our country. They are making Nazi salutes from behind a presidential podium on the day of the inauguration of the President of the United States. That is as fundamental an insult to this country as you can make. And then he goes on TV and wonders why we all hate him. We all hate him because we all hate people who think that money is something that overwhelms patriotism. And let me tell you something, Fox News. Let me tell you something, NBC. I don't care who your owners are. I know they're not here, but that's the point. They're leaving you on the front lines while they go and sit in their restaurants and talk about cutting your jobs. And by the way, they're paying people billions of dollars in settlements because they're making you lie. So it's your voices that they're polluting. They're telling lies on you. They're making you tell their lies. So who wants to come up and yell at this building with us? All right, here we are.
Hello, everyone. My name is Christopher Hooper. I'm a 17-year disabled Navy veteran, medically retired. In my 17 years of naval service, I never once thought the things I was fighting for overseas, I would have to come home and fight against. In 17 years, I fought against the don't ask, don't tell policy. Here we are, 13 years post the don't ask, don't tell policy, and trans service members are being threatened to be kicked out. No one that is qualified should be turned away from service in the United States military. My husband, I've been married for 6 years. My husband, who I've been married to for 6 years, is active duty. It is terrifying to me after fighting for the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell that my husband should have to go through his social medias because he's terrified that the things he has on there may or may not have an effect on his career. That's active duty. The fact that the Trump administration now is trying to kick out trans veterans to turn around and deny them health care in the VA, that's fucked up as well. The fact that we're talking about losing 80,000 people from VA health care is a direct threat against our veterans' health care. We're talking about mental health care. We're talking about the PACT Act. I'm a member of the GWAT generation, the global war on terrorism, the longest war in American history. Millions of veterans around this country will be affected if the Trump administration continues to do what they do. We have to stand up. Fox News, remove the words news off your billboard. Let's be real. You lost a case that says you call yourself news. And NBC, listen up. The people are here. The people are speaking. We the people.
That's right. I mean, our service members are worried for their jobs, people. They're literally showing up every day, not sure if they can serve this country because of who they are. We're all made of carbon. We're like inherently equal. We're literally all made of the same stuff. And yet we're here arguing over whether somebody can serve their country because of who they were born as. What the hell are we doing? Yeah. What the hell are we doing? Right, exactly. Exactly. And we had, it's interesting that these people, he avoided Vietnam, and now he presumes to tell our military how they or whether they can do their jobs. I have a very special guest today, guys. Jessica Denson has joined me. Jessica was one of the organizers on 314 of the Veterans March along with Cliff. She and Cliff are leading this movement, and she is here to say a few words, and I just want to give her the stage. So everybody, please get very loud for my great friend, Jessica Denson.
Guys so much for coming out today. Now, those of you who know my story well know that about 8 years ago I was on the wrong side of this. And you know why I was on the wrong side of this? Because of them. Because of Fox News. Now, we are here on a Sunday. We need a little bit of a sermon here today because these people purport to represent Christianity, to represent the Christ, someone who came to this earth to bring healing and peace. And these people are infecting this country with a disease, with division, with hatred. They are the cause of the fact that we have any percentage of Americans who support a draft-dodging Russian asset in the White House. You know, especially when Democrats were in power, they love to report on the fentanyl crisis. There is no greater fentanyl or drug crisis in this country than Fox News. That's right. That's right. Every one of these people, these, take care of your personal appearance as you wish, but these women who have so much done up to go look so, appealing, quote unquote, on television and then put a cross on their neck, while they cover and protect this man who is literally living and breathing the Antichrist. Do you really believe in God? Because if you do, you are going to have to answer and atone for what you are doing in that business. So listen, you guys know it's not just Fox News. We have NBC in this building here too. There's one reporter. We know Rachel Maddow reports on the protests every night. I just will remind Rachel to possibly have the organizers like myself, like Cliff, like Carlos on television sometime to tell you about this painstaking work we're doing to actually have the people flood the streets.
That's right. Have us on there.
But every one of them needs to start normalizing the conversation about the 5-alarm fire we are living through right now and how we get out of it.
Yeah.
You know, if you were there with us on 314, I told you guys, I said, when you leave here, no more protests about, oh, we're mad about this, we're mad about that. No, our protest is Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and JD Vance need to get out of power now. All of these unqualified Russian assets, alcoholics, all these other people poisoning our agencies, firing and terrorizing our federal workers, U.S. Institute of Peace, my God almighty, these poor people were terrorized. They're not even a federal agency. And Elon Musk 20-year-old hackers came and stormed them out. And a judge said, we don't even need a temporary restraining order to stop it. For God's sakes, what's going on? So just remember, every single day, I'm speaking of veterans, and thank you so much for your service, all of you for your service. You took an oath to defend the Constitution. And there is a man in the White House right now who is constitutionally barred from that office. He led a deadly insurrection on that building 4 years ago. He was adjudicated to have been the cause of that insurrection, and that currently, to this very moment, disqualifies him from the presidency. What could be a bigger story to report on than now? For anybody new here, if you have any questions about the legal authority behind it, go to nowmarch.org, the legal authority page. They need to have the intellectual curiosity to talk about the fundamental threshold constitutional issue that is being violated by this man who never wants to have an election in this country again. Absolutely, absolutely. So you know the spirit of us, spirit of me, spirit of Carlos, Cliff, everybody involved in this movement is we can't wait. We need to take action right now. Every second is a second that we cannot afford to waste with this man eroding and putting democracy up in flames. So thank you all so much for being here. The website again is the grassroots movement 14th now formed movement back in January to stop Donald Trump's illegal certification before it even happened. Not a single one of these members of Congress were on our side, not a single one on either side of the aisle. But the website is nowmarch.org. Nowmarch.org, and the legal authority page will tell you everything you need to know. So God bless you guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and go on websites. Cliff's website is donaldlovesvladimir.org, I think, right? .com. And AmericanOpposition.org is our website. I just want to take a moment now that we have a crowd. I'm going to talk to you guys for a bit. My name is Carlos Álvarez-Aranyos, and I'm the founder of American Opposition. And we are gathered here today to confront one of the greatest enablers of fascism in this country, Fox News and the rest of the mainstream media. Fox News is not a news network. It is the propaganda arm of Donald Trump's authoritarian regime. It is the megaphone through which Trump's lies are amplified, legitimized, and injected into the bloodstream of American democracy. For years, Fox News has poisoned our public discourse, dividing families and communities with disinformation and hate. They call themselves journalists, but they are not journalists. They are mouthpieces for a dictator. They have chosen to sell out their integrity to support a monster who is deliberately destroying our republic. They legitimized Trump's lies about the 2020 election, lies that led to the violent attack on our Capitol. They broadcast his false claims about the pandemic, claims that caused over 400,000 unnecessary American deaths. And I should note that it is a fact of history that no human being has been responsible for more American deaths than Donald Trump, other than his idol, Adolf Hitler. Fox News has platformed conspiracy theories about our elections, about vaccines, about our democracy itself. They've hosted hate, misogyny, racism, and fascism, all under the guise of fair and balanced reporting. That's right. And why? Because it makes them money. Fox doesn't care about the truth. They don't care about the American people. They care about power, profit, and pleasing the man they've crowned their king. Donald Trump has built his entire career on lies about his wealth, his failures, and his crime. For the 10 years of tax returns that we saw, the New York Times got 10 years of his tax returns. The guy lost more money than any other American for at least a decade, which tells you why he doesn't want to show us the rest of his tax returns. Donald Trump is quite literally the biggest loser in American history. Fox News has normalized his lies. They've turned deception into entertainment and hatred into profit. This isn't journalism. This is propaganda.
That's right.
And it is killing our democracy. Every time a Fox anchor repeats Trump's lies, they are giving cover to fascism. Every time they spin his corruption as patriotism, they are betraying not just the American people, but the service members who have given their lives for this country. And every time they excuse his failures, they are complicit in his crimes. And let's be real, Fox News knows exactly what they're doing. They know that Trump is a criminal. They know that he has destroyed our economy, corrupted our courts, and betrayed our allies. They know that he is a danger to this nation, but they don't care. They will continue to defend him because their loyalty is not to the truth. It's to money and power. Their greed knows no limits. So let me be clear. Fox News, you're cowards. You are puppets. And you are traitors. You pretend to be champions of free speech while you manipulate the truth to fit your agenda. You claim to be patriots while you dismantle the very foundations of our democracy. You profit from the destruction of the American experiment. And for that, history will remember you. But let me be clear, Fox News is not the only guilty party. CNN, the New York Times, Newsmax, the Washington Post, and so many others are complicit too. These outlets have failed the American people by normalizing Trump's extremism and treating his lies as just another point of view. They are nothing but mouthpieces for their oligarch owners. They've insisted on validating two sides even though one side is openly hostile to the foundations of our republic. They equate Trump's blatant authoritarianism with legitimate political discourse. They give contracts to Trump loyalists who have no interest in telling the truth, only in spreading his hate. They act as if fascism is just another political preference, as if the erosion of democratic norms is just another political outcome. They have steadfastly refused to call this what it is, a hostile takeover of the American Republic. In their quest for clicks, ratings, and profit, they've abandoned their duty to the public good. They give credibility to lies and treat conspiracy theories as true. They interpret this moment that we're in right now, as a debate. But let me tell you something. Truth versus lies is never a debate. Good versus evil is never a debate. Ignorance versus education is never a debate. Our message to the media is simple. It's written on a sign right around here somewhere. Wake the fuck up! Fascism is thriving because you refuse to do your jobs and treat it with the urgency it demands. Today, we are drawing a line in the sand. We will no longer allow Fox News and other mainstream media outlets to act as propaganda machines unchecked. We will hold them accountable for every lie they tell, every flame they fan, and every life they put at risk. And to my fellow Americans, let me say this. Turn off the lies. Stop giving your time, attention, and money to those who would sell you out for profit. Demand accountability from the networks that have failed us. Make it clear that we will not subsidize their fascist propaganda. You are accountable for the damage you have done. You are responsible for the violence you've incited. You are complicit in the lies that are tearing our nation apart. So we say it again. Wake the fuck up! Thank you. We built American opposition to fight this kind of betrayal. We built this movement to make sure their treason is answered. We will not allow Fox News or any other network to continue spreading lies without consequences. We will organize. We will mobilize. We will hold you accountable for the rest of your lives. To every network that normalized Trump lies, that amplified his hate, that treated his corruption as entertainment, your betrayal and your cowardice will never be forgotten. The time has come for real journalism to rise again. Yep. Not just in the mainstream, but citizen journalism. This. Make sure you use the cameras on your phone to tell our stories, because these bastards are not going to do it. So we have to tell our own stories. The beauty is that because of where technology's at, we own the power to replace it. We, the American people, are done being lied to. We are done being manipulated. We will not allow our democracy to be destroyed for the sake of corporate profit. And make no mistake, Donald Trump will not win. Let me be clear. Dictatorship requires talent. Being a dictator is a very difficult thing to do well. And Donald Trump has none of the skills required to govern us, let alone to become our supreme leader. Donald Trump is as useless a human being as anybody is aware of. I actually have never met anybody who's ever met anybody as plainly ridiculous as Donald Trump. But the fact that this is their horse, the fact that this is a guy that they think is going to rule us is some kind of sick fucking joke. Come on. We are the greatest nation on earth. We will have to be ruled by greatness. And Donald Trump is the exact opposite of that. And by the way, just look at what we've done to Elon Musk. We made him our bitch. Fuck Elon. Elon is crying on TV now because he's worried about his businesses. Guess what, Elon? Even if you leave tomorrow, we're going to bankrupt them for fun. We are more powerful than you, Elon Musk. You thought that being the richest man on earth could put you up against the American people. Let me tell you something. You don't stand a chance, motherfucker. Together, we are building a movement that is grounded in truth, driven by justice, and unstoppable in its determination to reclaim America from the forces of fascism and hate. We represent the people you think you can ignore. We are not just resisting. We are organizing ourselves by the millions. And we are fighting to win. Yeah. Just because you're not covering it doesn't mean it's not happening. Ignore us and you'll count. And if you don't wake the fuck up, we will do to you what we're doing to Tesla. We will bring the reckoning of the American people down upon you and ruin you. You have a simple choice. Do you stand with tyranny or do you stand with us? History is very clear. History is very clear on what happens to those who stand with tyrants. If you make the wrong choice, we, the American people, the most powerful force on this planet, will simply destroy you. Thank you very much.
I want to be clear here that they are literally witnessing the movement On my way here this morning, I was watching MSNBC and they had a Civil War expert on. She was talking about how she's been reporting on a brewing civil war in this country since something like 2008. And nobody took her seriously until January 6th. Nobody took her seriously. And she said, it's even, as you know, I'm not, surprising anybody with this news this morning. We're closer than ever before to a civil war. And the reporter asked her, what is standing between us and a civil war? And she said, it's us. Us protesting, us rising up, us taking back our power. between us and a civil war, between us and fascism, between us and dictatorship and an illegal Russian asset destroying centuries of sacrifices for freedom, what could possibly be more important to report on than us? When I was here 2 weeks ago, we marched from here to CNN, and I said, in the courtyard of CNN, I said, if Donald Trump decided to come out right now and have a press conference, they would stop everything, stop whatever coverage they had, stop everything, come out and do a live report on whatever the hell the orange lunatic was saying. Why are you not here now? NBC. All those shows that you watch, they're right in that window right now. Why are they not stopping their live coverage for what is happening here, but is happening there? What are you doing if this is not your story? This is the story. So listen, I know I'm not the only one here with a story about the media and Fox News. Who else has a story they want to tell? First, I want to say nobody has paid me to be here today to speak. Also, I'm an introvert and I never do this. I'm telling you, I am here this afternoon because Fox News has poisoned the minds of my beloved parents who raised me in a Christian home to love your neighbor as yourself, to help the poor and the needy. And I am here to tell you that as a retired federal employee, I spent 33 years in the intelligence community. I am married to a military veteran. I will tell you, because of the lies, propaganda, disinformation, and misinformation of Fox News, my parents think my service to this country brainwashed me. Please give me a break. We are here to tell the truth and fight for our democracy. Yes, thank you all for being here.
That's the story right there. Come on up, sir.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. All right. All right. All right. Oh, for retired veteran. Alpha and Omega, 69 and 9 months.
All right.
Anyway, I'm not going to let this little boy grow up in that fucked up, whatever, dystopia that the man with tertiary syphilis in his brain is designing. I lost my catechism a long time ago. But one of the things I remember is what you do for the least of mine is for me.
Yes.
I'll paraphrase that, and what you do to the least of ours, you're doing to me.
Yes.
So, the Christianity is a bunch of baloney. But our future is here.
Yeah.
Not, if you look at the back of my shirt, it's a gun-owning liberal snowflake. If it comes down to that, I will be in the streets. Thank you.
Thank you.
Those are the stories, aren't they?
Yeah.
The stories of losing our parents
Yeah.
to this propaganda. And by the way, if you're listening and you work at Fox News, I just want you to reflect on what you do every day.
Why?
No, because it's not just lies. Let's be clear. These are stories about ruining people's lives,
Yes.
about taking human lives. We outrun 1.3 billion sperm to get this prize, which is life. and this trophy, which is our bodies, and we get to exist for 80 years in community with each other. And by the way, we're all we have. Our dogs may love us, but they don't give us the kind of validation that life requires, right? We're all we have. And I just want to take a moment to remind the people who work in this building that your power is such that you can take that prize, 80 years on this planet, after running a marathon against the equivalent of all of China. The most special thing we know, which is our existence and love for each other. Because without that, none of this makes sense. And I think one of the things the pandemic took away from us is our sense that we need each other, that we exist in community, that we are only here to serve each other, and that we are the only people that will ever celebrate us or hold each other accountable or love each other or hate each other for that matter. So we're on this planet. We get to exist. We have run a marathon that is impossible. We are all victors. We are all winners. We are all made of the same exact chemical stuff. We cannot claim any difference whatsoever. And yet the people in this building who work here every day, they inject viruses into that experience. They make people lose themselves. I am not speaking to one of my brothers because he is a Trump supporter.
Oh, well.
He is yeah, right? That is our story.
Oh, well.
You're breaking families up.
We're speaking, but
And I don't know what your politics are. Let's stop. Let's not even have a political conversation for a minute. You're destroying family relationships. You're literally ruining people's lives. You're putting people in your falsehoods, which, by the way, I know you know they're false because I work in strategic communications. So I deal with you guys every day. I know you're full of shit. So you know better, and yet you do it intentionally, and then the damage is unquantifiable. Because I love my brother. My brother is one of my favorite people in my life. We grew up in the same bedroom, sharing a bedroom. I know him better than anybody. And these guys made his brain so toxic that I've lost him. And he's still alive. And that is a real tragedy.
yeah.
And then the second story here, we saw a grandparent standing up for his grandchild. And let me tell you something. We may not like ourselves. We may be living in insecurity. We may be self-harming. We may be whoever. The people with the most damage, the Elon Musks of the world. Elon is a monster. But I guarantee you that even Elon looks at a kid, well, maybe not Elon, but everybody else looks at a kid and says, man, that's a child, that's innocence. I want to protect that. I want to give that kid a better life. And by the way, if you don't hold that opinion, if you don't believe that children deserve a better country, the level of asshole you're at is unforgivable. Honestly, I don't advocate suicide, but if you really don't want to leave children a better world, what we used to say in the Dominican Republic is you're a zero to the left of the decimal point. So that's where we are. We're not here just to protest and be loud, although that's what Cliff told me to do. We're here to reflect on who we are and what we're building together. And by the way, this country is not as broken as they tell us it is. We're like 5 decisions away from having a balanced budget. Like, if you just go back to like the Clinton tax rates and cut the military by 10% and make Medicare available for everybody and do some basic ass shit, this country is in really good shape. So we are not in a crisis. They're generating the crisis because they find that the only way they can make money is when we feel like we're in crisis. So guess what? Now we're going to be in crisis. All right? You've called us into crisis. That you're not going to like the crisis you've created. Because the crisis you've created is going to destroy you. You understand me? We're not fucking around. We are not fucking around. veterans on our side. We have all the good guys on our side. All of the good people of this country fucking hate you. So, let me be clear, you motherfuckers. Make your choice now, because tomorrow will officially be too late. We will not stop. We will ruin Elon Musk. We will ruin Mark Zuckerberg. We will ruin Amazon. And we will ruin you. All right? Who wants to speak? Come on up.
All right, we're all interested in the media putting out the truth, right? Yep. And we want to strike while the iron's hot. Yes? Yes. Okay. I got a little chant here. I want us to do it at least 7 times. Okay. Here's what it said. All right. It says Fox lies about Signalgate. We want Signalgate investigated. So here's the chant. Investigate Signalgate, loose lips, sink ships, and kill American soldiers. You got that? Everyone's ready? Yeah. All right. Investigate Signalgate, loose lips, sink ships, and kill American soldiers. Investigate Signalgate, loose lips, sink ships, and kill American soldiers. Investigate Signalgate, loose lips, sink ships, and kill American soldiers. Investigate Signalgate, loose lips, sink ships, and kill American soldiers. You guys are good.
Thank you very much.
Hello, everybody. I am a 74-year-old lady from Frederick, Maryland. And I am representing about 5 people that I know that are quite a bit younger than me, but I have a friend that lost her job at NIH. I have another friend that lost his job at DOD. I have another friend who's a contractor. He had contracts and work with the government. His contract has been canceled. I have another friend whose daughter-in-law works at the University of Pittsburgh, and she lost her grants. She has to fire 6 PhD and grad students from her lab, and she studies bird flu. The list goes on and on. I have the pastor of a church that I'm friends with. One of his parishioners moved from California. They both worked at Fort Detrick. They are both PhDs in science. Both of them have lost their jobs. Now they have no jobs. They have 2 children. One is a special needs child, and they are lost. They have no idea what to do. So even though I might be just the only person here from Frederick, I am representing them. I'm representing all the people that have lost their jobs. I'm representing the people who are in crisis. I'm representing our veterans. I'm representing the citizens of the United States who are not going to put up with this shit anymore.
That's exactly right. We're not going to put up with this shit anymore. And it's interesting because while they don't cover us, on February 5th, on January 27th, we made a call for national protests on February 5th. Over 1 million people showed up. No media coverage. On February 17th, a couple of million people showed up across the country. No media coverage. On 3/4, another few million people showed up. On 3/14 here at the mall, we had veterans show up. And that time they couldn't ignore it as much, because it's hard to ignore a veteran. But they did everything they could to ignore our nation's veterans. And let me tell you something. I was a contractor for DOD under the Obama administration, and I got to work with soldiers. And everybody who serves as a soldier is keenly aware. It's kind of like the people who serve as police officers and other areas of service, that you're just putting your life on the line for something you believe in. So my question is this. Donald Trump is not a cause worth dying for. But America is. Because we have children and we have parents and we have brothers and we have sisters and we are worth fighting for and dying for. But an orange idiot is not. So my question to Donald Trump is, who do you think is going to fight for you? I mean, you talk about this Civil War situation. We don't need violence to beat you. You're a moron. But should you choose violence, because fascism is violence, democracy is peace, should this asshole, by the way, if any protest ever becomes violent, it was them. We don't do violence. That's not what we do. We don't need it. Gandhi didn't need violence. So the man who stood in front of that tank at Tiananmen Square, he didn't need violence. We know we're right. We don't need violence. Violence is what you need when you are wrong and you want to right. It's the dumbest. It's for the stupid. It is literally the recourse of the idiots. But should the idiot choose violence, I want to ask him a question. Who's going to fight for you? Are you worth fighting for, Donald Trump? Because I think even Donald Trump knows that he's full of shit and that nobody believes in him. They believe in what he gives them, and he serves their greed. But let me tell you something. That is a very easy cord to cut, because the economic power of this country is in the hands of the American people. We can decide to make you rich. We can decide to break you. We can literally destroy the richest man on earth and remove $200 billion from his net worth just because we feel like it. And honestly, I really feel like it. So if your name is Jeff Bezos, if your name is Elon Musk, if your name is Rupert Murdoch, we're gonna destroy you just because we feel like it. Because it's fun. So does anybody else want to talk? Come on up.
Now, wait a minute. You waited before.
Hey everybody, I'm Gen X. I'm Asian American, natural born. I just want to ask some of you, because you might remember, do you remember Donald Trump in the 80s? What a loser he was. He was in the news every day for what? Bankrupting his businesses. Can you believe that guy is president now? Why? You know, I went to school in the 90s, from like 92 to 96. I studied political theory at Michigan State University, a great landmark public school. And I read every, I read communists, Marx and Engels. I read German Romanticists, Heidegger and Nietzsche. And I read everybody, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, Montesquieu. I learned that you don't just accept a philosophy unless you read other people's philosophies and decide on your own what's the best philosophy. You guys heard of this Curtis Yarvin asshole?
Yeah.
This guy knows nothing about political theory, okay? He's some dot-commer that got money, decided he wanted to go off and spend his money learning shit. He didn't learn shit. He learned what he wanted to learn, just like the people who watch Fox News. He didn't challenge himself, okay? He wrote all this shit and people read it, but he didn't, compare it or interact with other people who actually write political theory. So if you try to read his, what do you call it? His manifestos or whatever, they're just full of holes and ranting, and he has no idea what he's talking about. But these people love him. You know, why does Trump want to start shit with Canada and Mexico and Greenland and our NATO allies? Because Curtis Yarvin wrote that weak neighbors are not good. Weak neighbors are unstable and more trouble to a strong state that, they want to take over. So if you're wondering why the hell is this asshole bothering our neighbors who never had anything against us, it's because they're under the influence of this asshole Yarvin. Okay? He doesn't know shit. He doesn't know anything. These people have never read a book in their lives. They need to go pick up the great thinkers, who.
The Constitution.
Yes. Or even the Constitution. And why did our founding fathers write the Constitution the way they wrote it? Because they read John Locke. They read, John Jacques Rousseau. They read all the great thinkers that came before them. And they argued amongst each other. They didn't just make up shit. They didn't just make up shit and decide, hey, we think, Hitler did a good job, but let's try it again. So just, I don't know. I mean, you got to call them out for what they are, not intellectually challenged at any point. And we got to be smart and challenge them and outthink them and be creative because they don't know how to do that.
That's right. It is nice to have all the smart people on our side, isn't it nice? It's amazing. That's the main thing I will say to Fox News. Why is it that all of the smart people are on our side? That should make you wonder. I don't care how stupid you are. You should realize all the smart people are on our side. So here you go.
Thank you. I just wanted to say that if you look at the Fox demographic, they're old people. They're scared and they're being told that they should be scared. And this is elder abuse at its finest. So, what are we going to do about it? We're going to grab our parents' tablets, their computers, their phones. We're going to block it. Then we're going to deny. I don't know why. I think they stopped being on the air. And then we're going to love them. So we block, we deny, we love, and we need to call this what it is. It is elder abuse.
That is right.
She reminded me of something somebody told me about. Something somebody told me about last couple weeks ago that I knew about. Unfox your box. Unfox your box. You can really pressure the cable companies not to carry Fox News. So Google unfox your box. And we got Erica here. There's so much shit being thrown at the fan, which is what authoritarians do. They just, there's so much shit at the fan that they think you can't keep track of it all. Well, one thing we want to keep track of is this executive order, this assault on our institutions of art and culture. They want to erase history. You barely heard a blip about this. Erica's going to tell us about this heinous executive order signed on Thursday. So I'm nervous, and she's standing on
So, as an activist, I've always felt it's really important to trace to the roots of a cause, partly and largely so we know whose shoulders we're standing on, because we're not starting from there. So, what are the roots of fascism within this country? Do you all know? What? Civil War. It's the passage of the Jim Crow laws. Do you remember what happened? When the Jim Crow laws were passed, right away, the KKK emerged, other white supremacist groups emerged, and they pushed back. They attacked, they murdered, they lynched, they silenced, they erased, and they erected Confederate statues. So after the murder of George Floyd, the Black Lives Matter movement started. I can't tell you, they were good organizers because I protested and was part of marches twice a day at least, all over DC alone. And what happens? They push back. White supremacist groups start all over again. It's become predictable, right? So on Thursday, I don't know if you all saw this, but Thursday night, there was an executive order issued by Donald Trump called Restoring Truth and Sanity to American History. Now that's laughable if you don't know as much history about what our African American ancestors survived and often didn't to get us this far, to get us this free. And so I was thinking about all these Smithsonian museums and research centers. They're also targeting the national parks. They're targeting monuments. You have no idea how serious this is, and there hasn't been a blip on any of the national news work. So I hope you are going to look this up. It's executive order. It's restoring truth and sanity. I just can't believe he's the one who issued this. I mean, it's just insane. So I had this vision when I woke up this morning of all of us encircling physically in silent reverence for the ancestors, the Museum of African American History and Culture, and doing this an hour before the April 5th, 12 o'clock, and it's So we're talking about 11 a.m., 5-minute walk from the Washington Monument, a 5-minute walk. It's right there. We encircle it. We, of course, leave openings for people to come and go, but otherwise, I envision this being like this silent hug of reverence for the elders who've enabled us to get this far. Who's in? Okay, so this is not going to be permitted. It wouldn't be permitted even if I requested it. So we're going to be doing this very spontaneously. And then, of course, the police will arrive and we'll just get out, scoot off to the Washington Monument and go on our merry way. But I feel like especially white people need to show up for this. White people responsible for slavery. It's our history, and white people need to fix this. And that includes the people in Fox News. Let me just...
I think that's a great idea. And I want to thank you for showing up and for giving us that idea, because I think that's a great idea. So why don't we just do that? All right? So on behalf of American Opposition, on behalf of everybody involved on April 5th, let's take a moment and go visit the African American Museum. Because as she said, culture is our backbone. Culture is not just history. It's history distilled into lessons. Our culture is the sum total of our experiences distilled into what works. And the history of slavery is white history. The history of surviving slavery is black history. And it's interesting that most of American culture, most of the things we collectively, white, black, brown alike, have distilled into lessons comes from the African American experience. It's not just food, it's not just music, it's how we relate to each other. It's the cookout. It's the backyard. It's everything that makes our lives worth living. Never mind that if you include black people in your lives, you will just be happier, and Latinos as well. I say that myself. Yes, and Native American. We have learned the bitter lessons, and as we say in the Dominican Republic, we keep our joy regardless. And ultimately, this country is going to have to find its joy again. We're going to have to learn to love each other again and to live with each other again, because part of this that is not being said is that the people behind Donald Trump are haters. They're just trying to bring other people down because they're too lazy to do the work of standing up. So maybe we can model better behavior for them by showing them that even they are worth our trouble. We're going to show up not just for ourselves. We're going to show up for the lost people and the ones that have a journey back. Yes. And I think of my friend Jessica here, who literally once worked for the Trump campaign. And she took Donald Trump on without a lawyer and fought his campaign non-disclosure agreements because she wanted to tell her story. And she didn't have a lawyer. In the first battle, she lost, and they put her under a judgment. And she owed him a bunch of money. And she was by herself, broke, owing Donald Trump money, and out of a job. And she persevered, and she fought the next battle. And she managed to get a bunch of lawyers, including Protect Democracy, a group that I was working for at the time, to join her. And eventually, that led to every non-disclosure agreement, hers and other people's, being invalidated so that they could all tell their stories. And I want to mention that. I want to mention that because we need to learn a lesson from her. We need to distill her experience and make it ours. She was by herself. She was broken in debt. How many times have we heard that story? I distinctly remember that being in the New Testament in multiple contexts. I remember it existing during the civil rights struggle. People who were broke and down and out and didn't know where to turn and had nothing. Coming out of the Great Depression, we saw that a lot. And yet, coming out of the Great Depression, we built the strongest economy in human history and sustained it for over 50 years. And we taxed ourselves properly. The top tax rate was 70% right before Reagan. And the reality is, all we were doing was saying, how can we be sensible? How can we be responsible? How can we make it so that an average citizen working a job can live a life of dignity and raise their kids and send them to school and etc. And it doesn't mean that we need to have political arguments to the death. If we just start with where we want to end up and say, we want dignity for people. We want them to live lives that are worth living. We want them to enjoy this beautiful land and our national parks and those amazing museums that have collected the relics of our history. And we want our children to have a better life. So we can deliver the way that Jessica delivered. We can deliver the way Martin Luther King delivered. Because let me tell you something, we're made of the same stuff. We are built and we have things they didn't have. Martin Luther King didn't have social media. He couldn't be self-empowered to connect with every human being on the planet. But we are. So let's rise up. Stop being lazy. Let's stop being complacent. This generation is spoiled. This generation is spoiled. Because we've never had it not correct on its own. I grew up in an environment where nothing ever corrected. It was so broken that all we did was drink rum and play dominoes and say, well, after 500 years, we're just going to keep doing this because it's fun. But here in America, we're still the greatest land of opportunity on this planet. We have a future we can decide for ourselves, but it has to start from a place of self-worth. It has to start with us saying that life, American life, is not just worth living, it's the greatest life there can be. We are the luckiest people on this planet. Let's not take that for granted, because it will go away under the dumbest and possible circumstances, apparently, if we take our foot off the gas. So all I ask of everybody here is when you go home, wake your people up. Wake your people up. Get Fox News out their TV. Remind them that by the way, it's not that difficult to disprove these idiots. It's everything they say is factually false. It can be found in any encyclopedia. Some of these arguments, we draw them out because they're entertaining, and that's actually on us. Reality show like a Kim Kardashian country elects Donald Trump. So let's be better. Let's be better. Let's be better than Kim Kardashian, and let's be better than Donald Trump. Is that not a fair thing to ask for from the greatest country on the planet? Can we not be better than Donald Trump? All right, so I want to ask the next speaker here to come up. Oh, it's fantastic. Welcome, reporters. Hi, reporters. I'm going to give you the pitch. We are a group of concerned Americans. My name is Carlos. I'm the founder of American Opposition. That's Jessica Denson. And we are here, reporters, to tell you to wake the fuck up. So the ones that are here, thank you for waking the fuck up. I recognize her. She is. And so I'm very happy to welcome Univision here. She interviewed me last time, and I'm so happy she's here. But at the same time, we need to wake everybody else up because the reporters are more inclined to tell our stories if we care about our own outcomes. So wake your people up. Remind them what's at stake. It is not, politics is not just about national outcomes. It's about your parents locked in a basement watching Fox News and never enjoying their lives because all they're being told is that they have to be afraid of something. And let me tell you something. We are living in the greatest period of peace in human history. Despite what Fox News tells you, the world has never been less hungry or more safe in all of human history. So if we can't enjoy this moment, then when the fuck are we going to enjoy ourselves, right? So I am here to ask everybody to wake up, not just to what is being done to us, but what we're allowing to be done to us. Because we can determine our own future still. But that may not be the case in a few weeks or a few months. We are on the verge of a precipice that would make it so that we lose to the dumbest, most ridiculous human being anyone has ever been aware of. And that wouldn't just be bad from the perspective of us losing our liberty. It would also be really insulting to every veteran who gave their lives for this nation. If you watch Band of Brothers, imagine going back in time and telling them that they won their battle, but we lost the war to that guy. All right? So I want to hear from you guys. Who's next? Who's going to come up here and tell our story? Oh, wait, 1 second.
Sorry, y'all. I just want to plant one seed. I don't want to get too wonky here or anything, but I want to try something here. I don't want to talk too much about Trump and Musk because we all know that they're puppets, right? We want to target also the people that are pulling the strings. So I want you to look around and I want you to raise your hands if you've heard of the following organization, the Council for National Policy. Okay, we got some hands up. So the New York Times has described this group as one of the most secretive, powerful groups of people in this country. They said it's a little-known club of a few hundred of the most powerful conservatives in the country who meet 3 times yearly behind closed doors at undisclosed locations for a confidential conference. Now, I was looking up this organization. I was researching them. We're talking about hedge fund owners and executives. We're talking about healthcare moguls. We're talking about, media conglomerate owners. We're talking about judges. We're talking about clergy people, because this is supposedly a nexus of the new religious right. And we've all heard about how Christian these people really are. So I want to plant that seed, and I want you to remember that name, the Council for National Policy. And you know what I discovered when I was researching them? Take a look at that sign behind you. See that, 444? Guess what their mailing address is? 444 North Capitol. So they share a mailing address with Fox News. I want this to be known to all of you, that these organizations that have all these members behind closed doors, yes, there's Donald Trump. Yes, there's Elon Musk, but these folks laugh at us if we're only focusing on them because they're the ones that write the laws, they're the ones that pay the politicians, and they're the ones that have the real power. And they don't disclose their membership list, but guess what? We found it. We have it now. The 2022 CNP membership list is in our hands, and we're going to find these people, and we're going to find where they're having their next secret conference, and we're going to protest the fuck out of it. All right? That is my message to you. Before I hand it off to the next speaker, a huge part of this is us educating ourselves on who really pulls the strings in this country. And us targeting Heritage Foundation and Project 2025 is a huge part of that. So please, when you go home, it's not hard to find information about CNP. Go on Undocumented, go on Open Secrets. A lot of these websites have profiles of these organizations. We need to educate ourselves on the real power brokers in this country. Thank you.
Thank you. Just want to take a minute. You know, Carlos was talking about my story and self-worth, and that's such an important lesson right now. This whole thing really comes down to self-worth. When I started this battle 7-8 years ago, it has morphed into a political battle, but it didn't start as a political battle. It started as a really spiritual warfare with myself over whether I was going to start respecting the gifts that God had given me, or if I was going to let them be trampled by the world. And so I committed to that with the direction from my God, thank you very much, to stand up for truth and justice in this country that I love so much. And I never let it go, and I never cowed to any of those threats, any of those illegal judgments, $1.5 million arbitration demand, none of the nonsense that he tried to use to silence me. I never stopped because these people would never report my name or my story to you. I just continued in that path of self-respect. And that ultimately, you know, the Bible says, love your neighbor as yourself. We can't love our neighbor if we don't love ourselves. And this is a beautiful example today and every day that we've seen the streets being lined by people of self-respect. Yeah. Self-respect. What is a greater thing in this world than to love yourself? Truly love yourself. And, you know, when we fill the streets, when we do this, does anybody here today feel afraid? I'm just curious. Anybody afraid? Anybody scared? Exactly. This is the safest place to be. Part of not reporting on us being out here in the streets is to have a chilling effect, to think that people are afraid that if they show up on the streets, they're going to be swooped up and carried off in a truck. Well, we're not afraid. We're empowered. We're free. Hey! This is one of the safest, most valuable, happy places to be. So I would just, along with all of the beautiful messages that have been spread today, share that anybody thinking of joining a protest, don't just get off your couch to do something, but get off your couch to be happy. Get off your couch to be free, to be empowered. This is the place to be. All right, I know we have some more people who want to speak before we go.
I'm just going to give you a break. I'm 74, and I'm not telling you this. I'm not telling you this to embarrass myself, but my mama was born in 1914. My dad was born in 1919. He was 4 years younger. And they both went through the Depression and World War II. And I've heard all the stories, lots of them, that unfortunately a lot of you haven't had firsthand information on. But that's where Donald Trump's trying to take us, is back to the 1938 or even before that. And it won't work. And we're not going to let it work. Also, this beautiful lady, I'm here in defense of Christianity. If you're a true Christian, you know that true Christianity is your personal relationship with God, Jesus Christ, and the Holy Spirit. It's not taking the government and trying to make everybody else in the United States a Christian and turn it into a theocracy. So let's hear it.
Well, before I go to the chant, somebody mentioned something super important to me. Oh no, he says not too many bad words, but I'm Dominican, and so we think all the words are good. No, somebody mentioned something to me that we do need to talk about, and it's not just about the media; it's about buying our elections, and the fact that Elon Musk is trying to buy the Wisconsin Supreme Court election. He's literally paying people to vote. He committed a felony in Wisconsin in attempting to do that. And it's important for all of us as citizens to stand up for the truth and for the rule of law and to say Elon Musk must be indicted for trying to buy votes in Wisconsin. Simple as that. Simple as that. You do that in a country that used to close bars on election day so that people wouldn't be bribed with a drink. We can't allow some billionaire loser to spend millions of dollars buying our elections. So Elon Musk must be indicted, and we have to pressure the Attorney General and the District Attorney and everybody involved to file those charges, because no one is above the law in the United States of America. So I want to invite anybody else who wants to come up and speak.
Right here.
Hey everybody, it's great to see all of you. Thanks for coming out. So I want to talk to you all because my name is Matt and I grew up just outside Boston, all right? Specifically, I grew up in the backyard of where the revolution kicked off, Lexington and Concord. That's where I grew up.
Yes, sir.
So I grew up hearing all this stuff about America being amazing, doing everything right, all the romanticized, whitewashed history we tell ourselves. That was my childhood, okay? And here I am, 40 years old, and I know we're falling short, people, right?
Yeah, that's right.
But we
Still
have-
amazing in Boston. You got a great mayor up there.
That's right, go Boston.
Yeah.
But we have these moments in our history, right? Where against all odds, we do the right thing and we show everyone and the world that we can be better than ourselves. Sorry, thank you. That's my drumsticks. Women used to not be able to vote. Men voted to give women the right to vote because it was the right thing to do. Move forward, slavery ends late because it was the right thing to do. Civil rights protests led to laws passing because it was the right thing to do. So what's happening right now?
The right thing to do.
It's a whole bunch of people coming here for the right thing to do. So we got to live up to this crazy dream that this country tells the world that we always try for and then kind of fall short and try again and fall short. We're trying again right now. So I appreciate you all coming out. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I would tell jokes about Elon Musk, but I think he's a little insecure and, I don't want to hurt his feelings. That's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name's Gilda, and in 1983, I joined the military, and I served for about 28 years. I then continued to work for the Department of Defense for another 10 years, and then retired, and I'm now 63. But I feel like the world is falling apart around me in what I believe to be my golden years, and after having done so much what I felt myself and friends of mine who have passed have done in the service.
Is your
But-
check still cashing?
As of last month, yeah. But what I wanted to offer, and I don't know how popular this is going to be, but I hope it is that I am just so broken at how polarized and divided our country is right now. And I spend a lot of time on social media, and I just see so much acrimony. And it's as if the only two categories of people that exist in the United States are the far radical right and the far radical left. And that is not true. There are a lot of people in between. And I think that we all need to work to hold back. I mean, it's so easy. I see it happen on social media. Someone says something and then 10 people jump all over that person, whether they're right or left or whatever they stand on. And I just want us to kind of be above that, be the better person, be the better woman, the better man, and not jump all over those people, and start to find a way to rebuild the connections in this country and rebuild those broken, polarized fences. And one thing I would offer, I heard a psychologist bring up, I think, are you Samir? You're a social worker, so maybe you know this, but when you talk to people and it's so easy to get into an argument, instead
think of it as a knot, a really complicated knot. And the job that you and that person have is not to pull real hard and just tighten that knot. It's to try to unravel that knot and find common ground and find those things and let them know. I know you said you're not afraid. I am afraid. I mean, maybe not right here, right now, but just let them know, and I've done that with colleagues on, hey, this, I know you're saying this, but look at this clip of what Trump said. It just really upsets me. Help me understand why, what that means to you and why I shouldn't be concerned. So just, be the better person. And I know maybe some people don't deserve that, but look for the people in the middle that can possibly be persuaded. Thank you so much.
And that's exactly right. That's exactly right. And actually, a huge part of repairing that is making sure the media doesn't continue to make it worse. Right? Because we are all in this together. We are not getting rid of each other. I heard somebody tell me recently that we could just knock Trump voters and make them feel bad about themselves. That's not a strategy, people. You can't call somebody an idiot and then ask them to vote for you. That's just not a strategy. That's what the Democrats are doing, but that is not a winning strategy. Take it from somebody who's never lost a political campaign. You can't call voters idiots and then ask them to vote for you. And wherever they are in their lives, they got there with cause. They are not blameless, but they're not fully to blame either. These are human beings who've been taken on a journey, and some of them are members of my family. Some of them are members of everybody's family. It's almost half the country. So we have to recognize that we have to be humble and that we have to understand them and meet them where they are. And bringing them back is an act of love that is on us because we are the aware ones. And so we can't say it's not on us. It's our responsibility to bring our brothers and sisters back from their darkness. Simple as that. I will never, ever accept the premise that Americans are too far gone. They are not. If they're too far gone, then we're too lazy. And we have to stand up and work harder. Because those same people, many of them are veterans. Many of them gave us their service. Many of them believe in things. And they're misguided because they're being lied to. So we have to cut off the source of the lies, which brings us here today. Because Fox News is the beginning of the end of American democracy. The day this network launched, this country's days became numbered. So we're going to have to do something about Fox News, and that's what we're about to begin doing starting right now. So when you go home, I want you to do a few things. I want you to go to donaldlovesvladimir.com and donate to what Cliff is doing. Because Cliff is a guerrilla activist unlike any other. He's a force of nature, that guy. On April 5th, show up. It's not even my protest. I didn't invite you to the party. And I'm still here telling you to show up. And I'm going to be in Denver speaking. And I saw the governor of Colorado like 3 days ago. And I said, come and speak. And I'm saying it again, Jared Polis and every governor in this country. And by the way, Republican or Democrat, the invitation is always open because I'm not giving up on my fellow Americans. I'm not giving up on my fellow Americans. So if you're a Republican of conscience, if you hear me today, just ask yourself, I'm not going to ask you to agree with me. If you're a Republican, I'm going to ask you for something much smaller. What if you're wrong? Let's just start there. What is the possibility that perhaps you may not be right? And if you are wrong, then I want you to come out to the second phase of this, which is to come and join us and listen to us and see that this movement doesn't just have all the smart people. It has all the peaceful people. It has the grandparents. It has the parents. They bring their kids because we're all in this together.
We're the real people.
Right. All the real Americans who love this country, who haven't been flummoxed by Fox News. And by the way, the way to tell whether you're one of those people is look at your TV. If Fox News is on your TV, you have a problem. And so just start assessing with maybe there's a 5% chance you're wrong. So I want you guys to go to donaldlovesvladimir.com. I want you to donate to Cliff's effort because that guy, gift to Cliff, because that guy does everything he can every day. And he's a comedian. He wasn't even supposed to be in this fight. Right. And then I want you to visit. That's right. And I want you to go to Jessica Denson's YouTube channel. And she's why I'm everywhere all the time. And then I want you to go to AmericanOpposition.org. That is our organization. I founded it. It is the hub. So the way this movement works, just for everybody who's new to it, we kind of do the hub where the strategy and the communications for the effort. 5051 does the national organizing efforts, and Indivisible is organizing at the local level, and they're now joining the national protest, and that movement is growing. So we are one big machine. Nobody owns it. As I said at the beginning, the beauty of this movement is that when it's over, you will have no one to thank. Not me, not Cliff, not Jessica, nobody. We are not here to be thanked. Or I don't make any money doing this. This is not my job. So we are doing this for each other and with each other. And when we save this country, we will thank ourselves because we will have saved the greatest experiment in history. And because the alternative is unbearable. And it is especially unbearable that we might lose this to that guy. So,
You all heard the saying that the good die young? Rupert Murdoch is proof of that. He's still alive at 97 years old.
So what was just said about bringing people to the middle? I wanted to share something personal. I come from North Carolina, from a very bright red area. All of my family voted for this administration. I tried my hardest to point to all the reasons why they shouldn't. And my mother said to me,
I know.
we're never going to agree on politics, so you might as well stop talking to me about it.
Oops.
And so I had to give up. Then after inauguration, all these things started happening. And I was talking to my mother on the phone and she said, Leslie, what's going on? And I said, what do you mean what's going on?
Duh.
And she said, I just don't understand. How are they doing all these things? And I said, these are the exact things that I tried to tell you about before the election, when you could actually make a difference. And she said, but I didn't vote for this. And I said, but you did, because it was all written out in a plan. We all saw it, and they're following it by the letter. There are spreadsheets tracking the progress of that plan. She was floored. Well, what do we do now? I said, well, this is the biggest bit of deception that's ever happened in the history of our nation.
Yeah.
The right has gotten really good at these 3-word slogans. All this propaganda, waste, fraud, and abuse.
Soundbite.
Right? Everybody wants the headline, but they don't want the real answer.
Right.
And what we have to be ready to do as a collective is have the conversations, because these aren't easy answers. They don't come in 3-word catchphrases. They're nuanced. They require our time and our dedication to have the conversations with the people that we love, the people that we meet. We have to be brave. We have to get ourselves out there. We have to ask questions, understand why people believe the way they believe, and then share in an open manner. Just like you said, we can't call them idiots. Let's give them the chance to say they were wrong. And let's bring them to the middle. Everybody has to come to the middle. We can't stay all the way over on the left. They can't stay all the way over on the right. We all have to come to the middle to defeat this. And I'm depending on each one of you to have meaningful conversations with everybody in your life. Spread that, and that's the way we make a difference.
That is exactly right.
This lovely woman reminded me of something. I was spearheading the Veterans Marches, you've heard of many times, that we did 2 weeks ago, and I planned everything from the top to the bottom that went up on the National Mall. And, you know, you run up against some naysayers and some doubters. Because these people have not reported on me for years, when I start a movement and a protest, they're like, who's that woman? Who's that woman? Why should we support her or back her? So those are the kind of headwinds we went up against. But we did it anyway. I mean, my God, Cliff and I were out here in the freezing cold in January with a few dozen people. And we weren't going to let anything stop us. We had amazing real veterans in the fight with us, and they showed up for us in spite of the official organizations not coming. And they're coming now. They're coming now because they see that who doesn't want to be part of this, right? But a reporter afterwards asked me, he said, "Are you a veteran? Why are you involved in this?" And I thought, something that I hadn't thought of in a few years, because it's been a while that I've been really deep in these conversations for years. While these people weren't covering my story or giving me a platform before I had a show of my own, I had so many personal conversations with just people I'd meet at the grocery store, at a gas station, at a park, anywhere. I would talk to people, and I would use my background as a former dupe of this propaganda to connect to them and try to draw them out. And you know, a lot of those conversations, we've all had them. They're tough. They're not always great for your mental health. But when I would talk to a veteran, I would not give up. When I would talk to a veteran who supported Donald Trump or listened to Fox News, I would really invest my time, because it made me sick that these people who really do know about sacrifice and putting it all on the line, and clearly in their heart of hearts care about freedom in this country, it made me sick that they would be brainwashed and used by these cowards. And so I would say, I just want to echo what she's saying. I do it especially with veterans, but it is so grassroots. It is in each one of our individual lives. It's the conversations we're having when nobody is watching. It's the connection that we make with somebody on some common thread. My common thread for these people is I used to believe what they believe. But we all, like Carlos said earlier, we are all the same. We all want to be loved, be seen. We all want freedom. We all want the same things. They are spreading lies to try to divide us on falsities. Those divisions are really illusions. And so we can really tap into that common humanity and pull on those heartstrings and reject this division, this hatred. We should all be flooding the streets. And then our institutions would be forced to respond and get these lunatics out of power. So, I just want to thank everybody again. Cliff, of course, Carlos, our humble foundation, 14th Now at nowmarch.org. We just show up when you need us. So if we need to do this again, we'll do it again. And we're going to be everywhere on April 5th. That's the next big day, April 5th.
That's right, April 5th, everybody. And so that was the final point is visit Donald Loves Vladimir, visit 14thnowmarch.org. Nowmarch.org and AmericanOpposition.org. And I want to welcome my friend Robert. Robert is an introvert, and Robert wants to speak. And so let's make him super uncomfortable, please.
Thank you, everybody. I just wanted to say a few words. I mean, first of all, as you can see, I'm just your average American white guy. It's a real low bar for me to get here. I don't have much to risk. But for all of you that are women or people of color or not straight or immigrants, you know, thank you for coming out, you know, because we shouldn't have anything to fear, but the reality is many of us do. And we have friends and families that it's not like in the past where they had something to fear. Now there is real risk, and we see it in the news. We see people getting arrested for speaking up against the Trump administration, and that's wrong. And, I think we've talked a lot about, the radical left and the radical right. I think that is a lie. These people in this building have hijacked the mainstream media's desire to show both sides to create the false narrative that there is a radical left. We should be considered the middle. Every time a marginalized group in American history got their rights, it was because of people like you standing up for it. And that's not the radical left. That is just people standing up for what is right. Right? The next point is, we all have friends and families that we avoid or don't talk to anymore because of what the people in this building are saying. I've done it. I've avoided them, and we see where that's gotten us. You have to stand up to the lies. You have to tell these people that our friends, our families, our loved ones, that just because we look at what America has done wrong in history and what America is doing wrong today doesn't mean we hate America. It means we love America and we want to fix what's wrong with it and make it better. And then for our friends that are afraid to come out here, if they have real fear and real things to risk, tell them we understand and that we're here for them. And for the friends of ours that just didn't get off the sofa this morning, we have to tell them to get off their ass next time. Get out here and stand up for what is right. Because for every one of us that's out here, there are hundreds more that think the same thing that just didn't show up. They have to get out over and over again over the next 2 years, 4 years, hopefully only the next 4 years, to stand up for what is right and to bring about the change in this country that we need. Thank you.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I don't think we're going to be living under Donald Trump for 4 years. I think this movement is going to take care of that. 1 second. Yeah. And yeah, 1 second. I just want to say one more thing is that Robert and I met at the Kennedy Center. And somebody else talked about the robbing of our culture. All right? We have to stand up for the arts. We have to stand up for our museums. We have to stand up for our history. We have to remember who we are, warts and all, because that's how we teach our kids to be better than we are. And with that, I'm going to bring one of our kids, or young person, I should say, I'm sorry, to say some more.
Yeah, so, we heard from people who are like 64, 73, I think that's amazing, but I'm 17, so. I can't even vote, let alone take a sip of alcohol. So, I'm pretty young, but I've been involved with political outreach for a long time. I'm from Indiana, right? Very red state. I've interned for Democratic candidates, and it's very, very hard, right? We don't really win back there. So coming here, we're on a visit. I'm going to be touring Georgetown, so I wanted to see DC. So I just wanted to say that, seeing all of you here has really inspired me. I think that truly there is such a problem in our country right now, and if we don't come together and if we don't galvanize people, then we'll never actually make change. So I'm from a state where there's a lot of stagnancy, and we don't actually make any efforts towards progress, but seeing all of you here has really inspired me. I have 2 younger sisters, so with this administration rolling back protection from women, I already feel like I've personally been affected. I have friends who are immigrants, and with all of these mass deportations, I already feel like they are affected, and by proxy, so am I. And I think that, just the attacks on trans people, the attacks on people of color, on LGBTQ plus members has been horrible. And I think that we all need to come together and really try to make a change. And it truly starts with the media, right? What we consume, what we watch. The media is very implicitly in all of us, and they have a large influence on what we do and what we actually choose to say. So I think that protests like this are ultimately how we get towards the future. And I'm so glad to see so many faces here. I'm so glad to see so many signs, so many diverse people. DC is one of the most liberal places in the country, and I think that it truly is a statement if a lot of people just are here and are protesting, and I want to run for Congress one day. So seeing everyone here really, really inspires me. And, it can be nerve-wracking to get up here. I'm a little nervous to even talk up here, but ultimately it's the right thing to do. And we're all doing the right thing by supporting members who feel like they're marginalized and attacked. And, especially as people who are comfortable, right? We're fine with speaking out. We're fine with being here. I just pray that the people who aren't fine or comfortable speaking out or aren't fine with showing up and protesting, that they feel a little bit of comfort today through watching us, that they feel a little bit of, advocacy for them when they've historically been silenced. And so, yeah, I just wanted to get up here and thank everyone so much for this. Yeah.
Amazing. It's amazing that he earned my vote before he has the right to vote. His name is Jack Clark, and he's 17 years old. And as soon as he runs for Congress, I will register in Indiana so that I can vote for that kid. But he said it. It's actually something interesting. The people that are not here are in some ways more important than the people that are here. Because a lot of people are living in fear, in real fear. A lot of people who are strong people are worried about their jobs. A lot of veterans are worried about their jobs and about their pensions. Old people who depend on Social Security are wondering whether their checks are going to continue to come. Right? Disabled Americans, LGBTQ Americans, Latino Americans. They're putting us in concentration camps as we speak. So we are here to represent for them and to make them feel safer so that they can show up with us and know that we're here to protect them. We are not just here for ourselves. Each one of us represents our families and our communities and our state, like that 17-year-old kid coming up here, living his dream, trying to find his place, trying to figure out his future, worried about his red state and whether it can ever represent him properly. But guess what? These are all choices we make. All we have to do is change our minds.
Exactly.
It is not that hard. And as soon as we make those choices, life gets better immediately. So we stand here in front of Fox News because they are the biggest blockade to better choices. So get out of our fucking heads. Get out of our fucking heads. And stop telling us what to do. And stop making us sacrifice so much just to exist in the most powerful and abundant country on earth. Because this is not supposed to be this hard. This is America. And we do not have to work this hard just to exist. So get out of our fucking way. So I'm going to ask everybody here to remind the media, wake the fuck up! Wake the fuck up! Wake the fuck up! Thank you very much, everybody. It's been great to see you. We will see you again soon. Do not forget to show up on April 5th in DC, in your state capitol, in your city hall, in your town hall, everywhere in this country. We need April 5th to be the largest demonstration in American history again, because we've already done it 3 times. So thank you all for coming. Enjoy the rest of your day. It's beautiful DC weather. Please, thank you.